YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this beauty right here. This is the Conscendo UMX Ultra Micro. Beautiful, amazing. This isn't just 4-channel, by the way. We've added flaperons, and then I also added in a spoiler setup. But to be frank, we've flown this once before in crazy wind. The windsock was getting yanked almost, 20 degrees over, and it did really good. But we wanted to get you some calm flights. And so we're gonna do it over the construction site right now, because I know some of you guys are curious, and we're gonna do it right now. So early in the morning, when the camera crew loves to fly. That's a hilarious joke. Okay, this also has safe in AS3X. Oh, and then also, if you weren't already aware, you can fly it on 3S or 2S. This is the 2S 300. It's got a JST plug. As you can see, the way we did it, it's right there. It is probably favoring just a little bit tail heavy in that setup, but that has a JST connector. And then basically all 3 styles of batteries you can use, but you do need an adapter for this one, okay? If you use this style, which is a 2S with the micro pH connector, similar to what we had on the original E-flite UMX lineup. All right, without further ado, here we go. That's about 50% throttle, and look at that, guys. Barely have to touch it. So folks, this is where our pond's gonna be, in case you were wondering. This plane is extremely capable, an amazing flyer, no doubt. I'm about 20% throttle, now I'm out. Remember, this is a sailplane. We've got wind coming at our face, so I wonder if we could, oh, there's a cat too.
Cat made it all the way up here.
So full speed, as you can see. Oh, it screams.
It was too windy to hear it yesterday.
Oh, it's so cool. I did not expect it to scream, folks. So if you're new to the channel, what we do is we unbox these things, we build them, we fly them, and we show what's awesome about them, because we love the hobby and we want to help bring the latest and greatest. So this is an early release for us. Thanks Horizon and E-flite for making such a great product. Sorry for the blue skies, camera crew, blue skies. Oh, I love it, guys. The Conscendo 1.5 meter Evo was such an amazing breakout product in terms of sailplanes, because you got that bind and fly easy. Okay, takeoff flaps, now landing flaps. Look at that thing. You can just cruise so slow. Now, near unlimited vertical, should be no problem. I am loving the fact that it screams. I've never had a small sailplane scream like that. Now, one drawback on this you need to be aware of if you're a brand new pilot, it's made of EPS and not EPO. So that means it's gonna be a little bit more brittle, but that's how they get that firm, straight wing. A little bit of dihedral. Safe makes it so easy. This is safe now, guys. So I'm just gonna give it about 30% throttle, and I'm not even gonna look. Now watch, when I bank, it limits my bank angles. When I pull up, it limits my up. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit more throttle. Here we go, about 50%. And all you have to do is just let go of the sticks, and it's gonna go up just a hair if you've got throttle in it. So wonderful way to kind of learn, even with the flaperons. Look at this, guys. I got the flaperons deployed, and I'm just cruising along. You see how they're both drooped? Amazing, so much fun. Okay, now out of safe. Sorry about the sun, folks. I'll bring it back around. Right next to the camera crew. Do you see Callie?
Where's she? Oh, yeah.
She's right. Let's give you a shot of the cat. Callie loves chasing planes. Watch this. She is a bird killer. Mm-hmm. Yes.
The cats
She's hunting.
Very concerned about the construction.
Watch this. Watch this. Here we go. Here we go. Woo! And then the sun blinded her. Did you see it?
Yeah.
That was funny. Callie actually gets birds once in a while, but we got her and her brother, cousin, nephew, whatever he is.
Brother.
Yes.
And sister.
Brother and sister, which turned into 11 cats.
That turned into the brother, cousin, nephew fiasco. But guys, this plane is just a wonder of RC.
You guys see that? You don't normally get that
On a sailplane?
On a sailplane. But I'm gonna tell you, if you guys are used to sailplanes being large, lumbering, slow beasts, then you're not gonna be used to this one. And what I can tell you is right now, straight out of the box, I'm talking maybe 5 minutes of radio setup, and you're gonna be flying this beautiful creation. It is so much fun in AS3X, it's amazing. In safe, it's amazing. It's got good envelope for people that really need the help. But what I was getting at about the EPS earlier is just keep in mind it is a little bit more brittle than some of the more bouncy, rubbery, and heavy planes. This thing weighs in at 109 grams, I believe is what they were saying.
Without the battery.
Without the battery. So if you go ahead and put any of the batteries that we'll accept in this, you are still well below sub 250. Yeah. Which guess what that means too, hon? Whoa, we could slope it because it doesn't even qualify. Well, anyway, walk up a couple of steps. We're gonna have to try slope soaring this thing. If we get wind right here, look at this opening we have now. This is all new to us, guys. It's like, what, 4 or 5 days of the trees being gone? Look at this. I'm way up in the front yard now. There is a place for wind to go now, right here. You see the wind? It's blowing right over our faces now. And that means it's gonna go up this hill and then we're gonna be able to slope it. That'd be so cool.
You can slope off the giant dirt hill.
Oh, and you guys wanna see where the dam's gonna be? If you're curious, it's gonna be right where I'm flying and straight across. You see, this is where the actual dam is gonna be. That's gonna be the dam road. And then it's gonna go out here to where the helipad is, which is gonna be about here. Nope, I didn't go far enough, sorry. Kind of hard to gauge distance. And I gotta say, blue skies and very small airplanes make for a challenging, especially when the camera crew and I are mixing ourselves up. So guys, the Conscendo Evo, when the 1.5 came out, we were loving it and so were you. Super popular, very good plane, very well done. And this thing is no exception. It's even probably a little bit more aggressive. Even though it's small, it's still so much fun. Now, there is no Vario. I checked this morning because I know some of you guys, oh, look at the cat on the Bobcat. It's not a Bobcat. It's a skid steer. Sorry, guys. She saw the shadow. She saw the shadow and freaked out. She's trying to get up higher so she can attack it. So guys, if you're new to Brian Phillips RC, what we said earlier is we unbox them, we build them, we radio set them. We set them up so that you guys can follow along because a lot of you are returning to the hobby, to one of the best hobbies that the world has ever seen. And what we're doing is we're helping to get you flying because that's what you should have been doing. But sometimes people have small, brief interruptions like 18 years of children and they decide they maybe don't have time for this, or maybe they have a group of children like us. And so they take a little bit of a break. Well, if that's you, or maybe you had a really demanding career that had you traveling, it was just impractical, something like this, you could even do that while you're traveling. That's what's so nice about these planes. When they're small like this, you can pack this up in the car or truck. This thing would go in the airplane, but you'd probably have to make a smaller box. The box is pretty big. 2-piece assembly, takes 1 plug to hook up the wings. And then you put the top on, it's got 2 fingers that go forward and it rocks into position. And then basically you have a 90-degree twist lock, no tools required, and you're ready to fly right then and there. And so it's just gonna be an amazing experience for anybody who wants to have one. Oh, and speaking of, if you're brand new to the hobby, the reason I was talking about that foam being a little bit more brittle than the EPO, this is EPS, remember? You may wanna get 2. But you can break the wing and then you could just have another wing, which is so nice about these ultra micros, guys. They're very basic and simple to work on because there's just not that much work that needs to be done. And so if you decide to get one, because of safe that I just turned on, it does make it very easy to stay away from trouble because the thing just glides. Now be careful about flyways, folks, because watch this. That's all the way down, okay? So it's got pretty good down. And what's gonna happen is some of you will fly in tight spaces like I used to, and this is still not a very tight space at all, but you could fly it in a very tight spot. Like, I don't know if a gym would be right. You'd fly it on 2S if you were doing that. But you can see I'm flying in basically a basketball court right now. But it'd be a kind of tight because of the high turns. And I wouldn't really enjoy it as much as other amazing products that are recently coming out. Can I talk about the tacos? Mm-hmm. The Waco. That's right, it should be released by now.
Yep.
So the Waco is an amazing one for indoor, to be honest.
Yeah,
if you were gonna flyer. We're actually thinking about maybe getting some indoor footage for you guys on that. Look at this, into the wind. The wind's coming up the hill. Let's see if we can slope it for a second. Yeah, I don't know if I can slope it. The wind's not intense enough. Okay, so I heard the first chirp. Okay, listen, I'm gonna show you this, if you can get it, camera crew. That's our battery voltage on the screen. It shows a battery, as in a bar graph battery. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna land this thing. If you guys aren't used to landing sailplanes, it's pretty basic stuff. You just bring it in at your feet. Okay, full landing flaps. Okay, out of the flaps, and then into the grass. It's that simple, guys. What an amazing product. And all I've got to say, it performs exactly the way I want. There's also some skids if you have to land on a hard surface, but I do warn you, they get eaten up by concrete. So if you have like a geotextile fabric that you land on at your club, or if maybe you're landing on an asphalt road, kind of the same thing, that does tend to get chewed up a little bit. So bring your speed as slow as you can. Now, there's no reason you can't catch this. It's easy to catch, but I just want to warn you, because it's made of EPS, it's a little bit harder and a little bit stiffer, which gives way better flight performance and lighter. But the trade-off is you drop it on the concrete while you're trying to get your thumbnail and you can break a tip off. This is fixed now. We dropped that, unfortunately. That broke my heart when that happened. I was pretty upset. But the thing is, this thing is an amazing plane. It's gonna do a great job for anybody who wants to have a sailplane experience, but maybe doesn't have room for a 3 meter or a 2 meter or 2.5 meter. But I'm gonna tell you this, once you wet your whistle with this, you're gonna want one. But we're out of time because they're getting ready to get started and we don't wanna be flying over them and distracting them for fear that they hit my Conscendo with a bulldozer, because I'm pretty sure it's not that strong. Although I might break their bulldozer. You never know. If you ask the FAA, probably break the bulldozer. So we'll give you guys all the answers to your questions on the 2S. But in the meantime, if you want to help support Brian Phillips RC and all the things that we do for RC, then all you have to do is look no further than the video description below. Pick up one of these Conscendo UMX Conscendos. Pick up either an NX10, NX7E, or whatever. We'll have a link to this. We'll have a link to the plane. And if there isn't a link and it's magically disappeared, then we'll have a link to brianphillipsrc.com. That's our website and domain. And you can go over there and we'll have this stuff hopefully easy to find by type, brand, or, well, by type or brand. Okay, so this would be an E-flite product. And so it should be really easy to find. And then of course, all you would need to do is just pick the battery that you like. Now we'll list the batteries down below. And like I said, hopefully Google doesn't think it's too unsafe for you to have an easy way to follow links so you can go buy stuff when you like them in the video. But that's literally what we're fighting them with right now. So anyway, guys, awesome product. Good job, E-flite. We can't wait to see what's next. NX10's been working great. If you need the 7E, it's good. We've got some footage that just recently released, and you could totally get the 7E and do this and quite a few of the planes we've done in the past, but you will have some limits, so just keep that in mind. So that's all we got for you today. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. Oh, and there should be other flights. I'm not sure if this one came first or last or whatever, but other ways you can support us: Patreon, one-time support, or excuse me, that'd be a monthly support. And we special thanks to our Patrons. We have like 45, 46
almost
people
50.
doing it,
yeah, now.
which is really good. So thank you guys for stepping up on that. That really helps, especially while we're fighting Google. And then PayPal, friends and family, donations received there for one time. But really, we also have YouTube super thanks and YouTube members. And so if you're a YouTube member or you send in a super thanks, we really appreciate that. It's really helping to fund this channel and projects like you see behind me. At the end of the day, my day job basically pays for our life, and then this sort of helps to fund giant projects like this when they come up. So it's really exciting to be able to do that. And we're just reinvesting right back into the hobby because what do you think we're gonna use that for? Think pretty hard about it. Float planes, boats, e-bikes that go on water. I don't know about that. But anyway, guys, we've got big plans. We're pretty much standing where the this is where the full scale runway is going to be. That's why there's dirt work that needs to be done, because we need it to be relatively flat.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's more to come about that. And then the dam gift shop will be over next to the dam road, the dam runway.
Where the trees are.
Yep. So hopefully that'll be where it is. It may be a little bit further tucked into the trees. We're not sure yet, 100%. It depends on how everything lays out. But at the end of the day, you guys are helping to make this hobby dream happen, this aerodrome. And so we're super excited to be able to share it with you on Brian Phillips RC. By the way, if you're curious about the pond project, we'll have videos about that separate from brand new release Conscendo and Waco and different planes that have been released while we've been digging this. Okay, so if you're curious, don't worry, you're not gonna get left out. We may just not have published it yet because we're not far enough into the project to actually keep interest.
Right.
Okay, that's all you get for today. There will be, well, that's of this flight, I should say, because there may be some more following, maybe the windy flight. And then don't forget, we'll have the Unbox build radio setup, which is really more of an open and set up the radio. And then you can go from there.
That'll be at the very end of
this video. Yep. So guys, thanks so much. Your support is overwhelming and we really do appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. And also, good job, E-flite, amazing product. Get one today. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this, the Conscendo UMX, amazing. We're gonna try this on a windy day. Check this out, guys. Flapper-ons, and then I also set up a little bit of spoiler on as well. We'll show you how to do that in the Unbox build radio setup. But without further ado, on 3S 300, we're gonna see if this thing can fly in a little bit of wind. As you can see, there's some wind behind me. Quick removable wing here. Ball links on the elevator and rudder, as well as 2 3S compatible with a spacious battery bay. Haha, I say that facetiously, and a folding prop. So without further ado, this does come equipped with a braking motor, so you don't have to set that up. And I'm not talking about reversing, I'm just talking about braking. So when you let the throttle off, it's gonna fold the folding prop. And it also does come equipped with AS3X and safe. So currently safe is on in case I drop it in the wind, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off and launch it. Here we go. There it is, guys. It's very windy, that's 50% throttle. Look at that thing getting beat around by Mother Nature. But doing just fine, guys. Absolutely love flying the Conscendo. It's one of my favorites. And that thing is a powerhouse on 3S. We're gonna try to do some dynamic slope soaring at some point, but for now, we're just gonna be flying the thing and probably getting a little bit of slope here. As you can see, there's some crazy bulldozer action going on in the background. Don't you mind that at all. That's just part of the pond project. And this thing is rock solid. As you can see, very windy, and the thing doesn't seem to care at all, unless of course you drop it. And then it will care. Okay, cool. So we've got very good flight performance, exceptional no less. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to go up and over the sun, sorry camera crew, and then we're gonna turn on flaps. Holy cow, that's awesome. And then there's landing flaps. As you can see, it's doing just fine. Just cruising along, out of safe still. Okay, out of the flaps and into the throttle. It bites through the wind like it's not even a thing. It doesn't seem to care that it's windy as all get out, other than the fact that it just wants to give you more persistent performance. Just like we've seen from previous Conscendos. Camera crew and I are gonna go up by the edge of the hill. Camera crew and I are gonna go by the bull. And we're just gonna go fly right over the top of these bulldozers like a crazy person. I'm sure that they want to see it, but they will have to keep working because they're commensurate professionals. So look at this, guys, right off the top of those trees. I'm gonna go into takeoff flaps. I'm gonna point my nose into the wind and look at that thing chilling. I am out of throttle, just chilling. So cool. Okay, so into the throttle. Look at that thing take off like a rocket ship. So much fun. And if you guys have never flown a sailplane, make no mistake, the Conscendo Evo 1.5 was a game changer when we got to 3S from 2S. And I can just definitely tell you this, I love flying slope. Slope soaring is one of my favorite things to do, and I can see this thing being a perfect slope soaring ship. It's kind of a mouthful, sorry guys. Now, one thing I can definitely say is if you've never experienced the foam quality on these UMXs, they are definitely EPS, they're not EPO. And so what that means is you have a lightweight foam, but they are definitely delicate. So don't expect this thing to handle a lot of crashing. So if you're like me and you like to find trees with them, you might want to get 2 of them. Because when you hit a tree, it's going to be a little bit devastating. But look at that thing in the air, which is insane. You see that thing getting turbulated? The AS3X is not skipping a beat, as you can tell. It's just going to town, and that's what these planes do. Okay, full landing flaps here. Okay, now let's show you what it looks like when we turn on. I want to show you what it looks like when we turn on spoilers. Watch this, just going along, no problem, kind of gliding along. Spoilers, look at that thing. It just doesn't seem to care. It's just like, whatever, full landing flaps. Now spoilers. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, out of the flaps. So it's just totally flyable, that's the point. And there are gonna be some of you that say you don't need flaperons. That's no big deal. You don't have to set up the flaperons. It's very easy to turn on. Left stick down and out to the left. Right stick up and to the right. And then 5 switch cycles of the gear switch or whatever you have, the switch A typically by default. And that's gonna get you set up and ready to rock and roll. And what that's gonna do is you will see a big, weird dance. You can turn that on and off, but you have to set your wing type to 1 aileron and 1 flap. And that's gonna set it for flaperons, which is a little bit counterintuitive because you would think you would set it to flaperons. That is incorrect. I'm gonna go with the wind here, keep my airspeed up so I don't lose control of the plane. And I'm gonna go really fast, and we're gonna go up over these trees and just give you a shot coming down the pipe. Okay, a little bit of throttle. Look at that thing getting kicked, guys. These planes can handle some wind, goodness gracious. Way more laminar over here for some reason. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna just use it to our advantage, guys. So slope soaring, of course, would generally be done on like a dam or in front of the ocean or maybe next to a cliff. And what's gonna happen is you'll just ride the wind. So if the wind is coming this way, you'll just chill and you can sit right there and have almost a negative airspeed if you wanted. But as you can see, I'm going forward just a little bit into takeoff flaps, out of takeoff flaps. Unlimited vertical, no doubt, and this thing flies phenomenal. I am super happy. Decent rudder authority, could use a little bit more, so that might be one thing I change on this after we get done with this flight, and that would be to go to the, I don't know if it's on the inside hole. Did you check, camera crew? I can't remember. So really at the end of the day, if you guys are looking for the Conscendo experience in a small package, which is exactly what you want because the Conscendo experience is fantastic, then look no further than the UMX Ultra Micro Conscendo from E-flite. Guys, thanks so much for being part of our little RC family here and bearing with us as we fight with Google over links. If you want to help support us, all you have to do is look into the video description below or go to brianphillipsrc.com. That's our domain, our website, and we'll have the links there for you if you can't find it in our video description because Google rudely removed it, thinking it's somehow spam. I don't know how it could be spam if you go out of your way to find it, but just ask Google. They'll explain it, except they won't. So also, I just wanted to point out, we love the Conscendo, have always loved the Conscendo. One of my first early planes was a Conscendo S. That was a full safe airplane, and we loved it. We added flaps to it. We did all sorts of fun things to it, and just really had an amazing experience. And I cannot believe how well this plane is doing. It's just living it up, regardless of the wind condition. Now, the one thing I'm gonna tell you is the camera crew is probably not living it up because it is hard to film small things like this, and small things, no less, that are very fast, are very challenging. Now, I can also tell you this plane is probably gonna do great on 2S, especially if you're in a sloping environment, meaning that you don't need a lot of power to keep flying, you're just gonna be gliding into the wind. And so for that reason, the spoilerons and flaperons are really helpful because you're generally gonna do that in higher wind conditions. So if you guys are trying to thermal with this, you would have to probably pick a better time than what we've picked, but you should be able to definitely get that done if you'd like to. Now you guys see how I'm crosswind. There is a bit of danger when you get your airspeed too low of stalling, but this thing just doesn't seem to care about stalls. It's not doing it. It rejects any possibility of stall, and partly because of the direction we're flying, okay? If you guys want to have an amazing experience, look no further than the video description and get one of these for yourself, full landing flaps. Let's see if we can bring this thing down. I'm just gonna use a lot of rudder, and I'm gonna use my full flaps, and as you can see, the thing is basically coming down very slowly. I don't wanna lose all my airspeed, but I'm gonna basically just, okay, I'm gonna go this way and come back toward us. I'm gonna use up some ground, and I'm just gonna fly out and past the sail, the windsock rather, and I'm just gonna see if I can bring it in here, full landing flap. Sorry about the sun, folks. I'm gonna get into the throttle. It's actually going to slow us down just a little bit, then let that bring it to the ground. As you can see, we're down. Now I'm gonna go full spoilers, throttle cut, and as you can see, we are at about 30% juice left. What an amazing experience, guys. Get one while they're hot from the video description below. It's gonna be one of the hottest topic items in RC for a while. So definitely, if you want one, get it ordered now. If you've never experienced the 1.5, our links will bring you to both, okay? It's an amazing, amazing plane. You will not regret getting it. Get the 3S 300 milliamp with JST connector, I would suggest. We'll link to that too. And then if you have old E-flite batteries, or even the newer Spectrum Smart branded, but they're not actually smart batteries with the without the JST, but instead they have the micro PH 2S 3-wire connector, then you need to make sure you get that 3-wire adapter that goes down to JST, okay? We'll link to that, and we'll link to the charging cable that's necessary to go between that and an S2200 or an S55, in case, or S155 rather. So by the way, if you're looking for a charger, this of course is gonna charge just fine on a million different choices of chargers, but the S155 is a great example of a cheaper charger. It's gonna be one channel as opposed to the S2200 that we use a lot. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the Unbox build radio setup. The build is basically 10 seconds, plug one wire in, one wire for both ailerons, you plug it in and then you slide 2 hooks in and you turn a knob, and that's it. It's only a 90-degree turn. You don't even have to turn it 180 degrees and it's locked, and then you're ready to rock and roll. And as you can see, there she sits. Awesome plane. Get one. You'll love it. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for supporting us. If you want to support us in different ways that are not buying this particular aircraft, maybe you've already got it, maybe you've got the 1.5 already and you loved it already, but you want to still give us a pat on the back, there's also Patreon, which also gives you some immediate access to me for comments, PayPal, friends and family, if you don't mind, then nobody pays fees. And then of course we have YouTube super thanks and YouTube members. So special thanks to our members on YouTube for helping to support us on a monthly basis, and to Patreon for supporting us on a monthly basis. We really appreciate you guys coming alongside us, especially now while Google is attacking one of our largest income streams on this channel, which consists of basically people that follow links. If you take away the links, it makes it really hard for them to follow the links. And yet we're still reviewing some of the best products that can be bought, especially for beginners and intermediate experienced pilots. Anybody who's flying RC is gonna get a kick out of this type of plane. And so if you're looking for a great Christmas gift, get one of these, maybe get 2, because you're gonna want one too. Also the NX7E, we recently reviewed that. Great option, a lot less expensive than something like the NX10. So it's gonna meet a lot of people's requirements, and you're gonna give up just a very few features. So if you need to get an economy option, but you still wanna have the airwear and you still wanna get up to speed, the NX7E is great. And it does only look a little bit like bovine. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay guys, that's all you get for today. Thanks for watching. We'll try to get you a flight in calm if we can. And by the way, if you wanna see more about this dramatic build, just stay tuned. We'll literally show it, a lot of it. And that would be digging a pond in the backyard. It's gonna be awesome. Stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC coming right now. You don't even need to start a new video. The Unbox is up next. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this right now, and it's gonna be super exciting. You already know what it is from the thumbnail, but we're gonna open it anyway. If you wanna support us, buy them from the links in the video description below, or follow to brianphillipsrc.com. You may have noticed we've been fighting Google. That'll probably be going for a while, but we're still super excited to be bringing you all these amazing items. So here goes nothing. Oh yes, the UMX Conscendo. Amazing, something we've been wanting forever. Skill level 2, AS3X and safe, built in, 2 and 3S compatible power system, extra functions, folding prop and optional use flapperons, spoilerons. Yes, good call. Would have been appreciated on other Conscendos, but we're super excited that it's on this one. Okay. So without further ado, let's talk size real quick before we break this out of the box. It looks like it's about 31.6 inches or 802 millimeters. Okay, and then what does it say? Does it say a weight? It looks like it's 109 grams with the battery.
With the battery?
Oh, without battery, without battery.
Okay.
So interestingly enough, sub 250, for those of you that are concerned about following rules that are insane from the guys that regulate the 747s,
well,
and F-22s and stuff like that. Okay, so we're gonna open this up right now. We've got a manual in here, not folded. Good job, Horizon. The manuals for us are usually a little bit of a moot point on UMXs because they're so basic. But since we have to set up flapperons, we're gonna make sure we evaluate that and see what the manual has to say. Now also note that this case is large enough to hold the plane, but you do have to take the wing off, so maybe not super exciting in that regard. There's the manual, camera crew.
Okay.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pop this out right now. We get some foam to protect the foam from the foam so the foam doesn't get damaged. Oh yes, that looks so sweet. So super excited, and it looks like they have a singular connector that goes out to both of the servos, and these are linear long throw servos, but only one connector has to be actually used, and then toolless installation on the wing. So it should be a quick install, which is nice. So you can still go ahead and opt to use this as a carrying case in that regard. And as you can see, we have the ball joint connectors, which is nice for the linkages to the elevator and rudder. And as you can see, we have a nice big folding prop that's black and brushless motor, which is super nice. And then as you can see, we have linkages here that go to the back, and they are well protected by a piece of plastic, okay? So in order to plug this in, I'm just gonna do it right now because I wanna get this taken care of. When you look at this, there's one plug that will reach, okay? And only one plug. So it should be quite easy to plug this in. So I'm just gonna do this. Hopefully they give me enough length. And what you do is you just kind of reach in there. It's quite tight, but you can do it, guys. I promise. Got it clicked, okay? Very good. As you can see, that's plugged in there. I'm gonna put those two kind of fingers into the front, drop this down, and then that plastic protects the cables from getting in to the servos, the linear throw, long throw servos. Now, which way does this turn to lock? That's unlocked. This is locked, and there's a very faint mark there, okay? So as you can see, this thing looks just like what you've come to expect from the Conscendo, and it is just absolutely fantastic looking. Super excited to get this thing in the air. And as you can see, there's just not that much assembly required. And what do we have here? It does come with a little clip that's holding the driver that would allow you to, you can leave that in there, that would allow you to undo the linkages, okay? So you look in there, those are hex drive, okay? So it does have the tool. That's something that we normally don't expect anymore on these airplanes. Used to be pretty commonplace, but anymore they haven't been doing that for a long time. So let's go ahead and come around. Ooh, that is so pretty. I can't wait to get this in the air. Now let's talk about batteries for a minute, because obviously you're gonna have to battery this thing up. And so when we do our unbox build radio setups on Brian Phillips RC, as we always have in the past, we try to break these things up so you guys can see the flights first. But we do have to talk about batteries because a lot of times that's the biggest question for a lot of you that are new pilots, okay? So opening this up, just give a little pressure and it pops right up and out. See, it's magnetically attached. Now, this is not the most strong thing I've ever felt in my life, so you want to make sure you don't crush that. And then it looks like you can see the brushless motor from the back. There's a mount here, very easy. Plastic here, but still pretty soft. And then, of course, we have this goofy safety / compliance label. So we're just going to go ahead and trip, slip, and grab the scissors. And I don't know what could possibly happen here, but I would assume it's probably going to be like, oh, dang it. Oh, I cut it off.
Shoot, I hate when those fall.
Happens almost every plane around here. But that's just the way it is. Now, we do have a JST connector here, as you can see. So JST are going to allow us to use either 2 or 3S. And you're probably thinking, but this is the battery I have and use, Brian, and I've got that micro pH 2S connector. Well, if you do use that, then you have to buy one of these or build one of these, okay, either way. If you have an old UMX plane, you can take and cut that off and then build a JST on, solder them together on an existing leaded JST, or just clip them short and build the JST, which is a little easier said than done. They're kind of a pain to build. And then, of course, this. If you have a servo end builder, it's pretty similar build, putting together an end like that, because you have to crimp on the ends, slide them in, and then they bite internal stops that stop these from popping out. But you can take an X-Acto knife and relieve the pressure by pushing down on that tab and pull the leads out. Okay. So this is going to take the outside 2 most wires, and it's going to complete the circuit. Just be real careful not to charge on that, because like I said, we've been using this example death battery from recently. Now, we do have this in storage charge level, and as you can see, that's not correct. That's dangerous. Don't put yourself in a situation like that. We've been using that as a cautionary tell, and also we did get that back to charge level that's appropriate, but it's never going to be the same, okay? I would not recommend, if you ever have one like that, just hanging on to it, but we keep it away from the other batteries, just to be clear. Okay, so if you get this adapter, you can use your old 2S batteries, or you can get the newer 2S batteries that happen to have the JST lead, as well as a Hextronics balance lead. So that makes it super easy to charge with one of these adapters on any of the current smart chargers like we normally use, which I recommend the S2200. But if you can't afford or don't want to afford a double, get the S155. Considerably cheaper, but only 55 watts on a single channel versus the 2200 is 200 watts. But then you also get the capability of going up to 6S with the larger plugs. And really, let's get right down to it. If you're flying jets, you've got 6S already in your fleet. The 2200 has been a great charger. And we have a bunch of really good chargers here. That's our go-to every time, okay? Now, that being said, if you want to charge your old batteries, don't forget you need to get one of these adapters too. That's going to be the IC3 that takes out the balance lead. Now, this is not a smart lead, even though it's that gray color. That's actually just going to the Hextronics connection. So then you can go into the regular balance port, into this port, and then of course you plug your battery into this port here. Okay, so it would go something like this, and then you would plug this into the charger as though you had a more standard 2 or 3S. In this case, it'd be a 2S. I'm trying to see if we have a 2S somewhere around here. Yeah, this would be like a 2S right here. This is a 2S, okay? So it's got the 3 wires here, and then the discharge happens to be a Dean's, but that is a 2S. Different technology battery too, but still. Just want to stress that if you guys are getting into the UMX models and you don't have the right adapters, make sure you order them when you're ordering your plane, okay?
And we will link to all of those adapters that you just talked about. It'll be right under the plane.
Right under the plane, then battery,
then
proposed battery, alternative battery, and then cables. But here's the thing, we've been fighting Google. They have been attacking our channel, trying to shut down the links as though we're spamming people. So just remember, if you're looking for the link and you can't find it, we will basically link you over to brianphillipsrc.com. And what we're trying to do in recognition of our vast appreciation of YouTube and the way they're treating us is we're gonna have some content in other platforms. So if you don't like YouTube and you wanna just go there, that's fine too. We really don't care where you watch as long as you watch. And so if you're looking, it might have something to do with the noise that comes from a large truck going down the street full of gravel. Was that good enough?
Yeah.
There's also some books with some faces on them. We're trying to figure that out, but we're limited on file size there, so we're not sure how we're gonna do that. So that being said, okay, so then the next move, of course, we're gonna use this battery, which is the 3S, 11.1 volts. It's actually just a 3S, 300 milliamp battery. Okay, so you see you got your Hextronics balance lead and then your JST discharge lead. Okay, so that would go in there. Now you don't need this little sleeve we've built, but we always have that handy. This is just something we use for UMXs because I don't like putting tape on these batteries. They always seem to be on the wrong side of the battery. Some of you would disagree with my analysis in that regard, and that's fine. There's freedom to disagree, unless of course you're talking about YouTube, and then you have to agree with them or they'll block you. Okay, so that being said, we're gonna pop this in here, and I'm noticing right away that it's kind of a tight squeeze with all the connectors, and there is a hole under here. So I was thinking if I could get this balance lead to just kind of slide up in there, that would be fine. Yeah, that's gonna be fine. And then of course this thing will strap down into that position without too much effort. You know, not maybe my best loading experience, but I would say that that's manageable. It's not like really a big deal. And then of course the cap or the cover canopy, if you will. See, there's a little bit of a relief on the front. I could see people getting that mixed up and putting it backward and damaging it, so just don't be that guy. And then this is plastic up here. I think that's plastic, right? Nope. Yes, it is plastic. They reinforced plastic right there so that it doesn't wear and tear. That was a really nice idea. Okay, so we're gonna slide that in. And then our next move is, as usual, we're gonna go ahead and do radio setup. Now, camera crew and I have been working with the NX10 for some time. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and collapse the box, get this stuff laid out, and then we'll come right back with the transmitters. All right, so we have to build a model profile before we can actually command and control this model. And then we'll have to bind whichever one we use to the aircraft, okay? So it's just like any other plane, and even easier because these ultra micros have very little setup. Now, that being said, we have the NX7E, which would be perfectly fine for this application, or we have the NX10, okay? Now, I just wanna say the NX7 has really impressed us, given the 7E, given that it is inexpensive and value packed, okay? That being said, we are used to the NX10 and we do have the additional channels, and I will lean toward this because of the rubber grips and because the screen films a little bit better on our channel, which has very little to do with quality for you as a user, but I just wanna point that out to you. This high contrast, high gloss screen makes it really hard to film for us. Has nothing to do with end user requirements in a normal application, but I just wanted to point out one of the reasons that we're sticking right now with the 10. Also, this didn't come with a lanyard. As you know, I fly with a lanyard, and also, as you know, I use a lot of planes that end up needing more than just the 7 channels that would be equipped on here. But you could totally get the 7 and you could use the 7, and there's nothing wrong with it, and in person, the 7 looks a lot better than I thought it was gonna look based on the advertisements we saw. This is gray and not black, so it's a little bit less cow-like. If this was dark black, it would be more like cow style. But it does look cool. And I actually have really come to appreciate these color lines. I thought at first, like, what a waste of battery, but it can't be charged. It can't be that much battery life. And then also when you charge, it changes colors, which is super cool. Yeah. So anyway, without further ado, we're gonna shut this off. We are gonna go ahead and stick with the NX10 for the reasons we talked about. Primarily, filmability in our application is paramount because that's what we do, okay?
Our kid thinks it's cool looking, so if you're trying to be like young and cool.
Then get the cow. Yeah, that's what you know, I mean, farmers, America needs farmers, ANF.
That's true.
That's all I'm gonna say. We are farmers, by the way.
We are.
Sort of. Okay, so we're gonna turn this on. We're gonna cancel them back. I'm on plane 7. What the heck? Why was I on plane 7?
Because we flew.
Okay, so we're gonna add a new model. We're gonna create that. While that's creating, let's look in the manual. The manual is gonna talk about the different things that we need to know. And as usual, they have made a new style of page here. And it's gonna be, oh goodness gracious, sorry guys. I wanna get this back over just a little bit further. Okay, there we go. So page 4, this is gonna tell you the NX series setup. There's DX and then IX setup, okay? So it's pretty simple stuff. Obviously, they are talking about the elevator and aileron expo. I'm gonna set it up the way I always do. And then basically we've got wing normal. Okay, so how do you do flaperons? Do you just turn it on? Advanced setup. The UMX Conscendo includes flaperons option to activate it using the transmitter sticks and switch maneuvers. The aileron functions normal. The factory respond. Okay. To control the ailerons as flaps activate the, oh, so okay, so we just turn it on. That's super. All right, so the camber flap setting. That's kind of interesting. Like, I don't understand why they are using camber spoiler-on setting. That's not something I'm used to seeing. The elevator's -17. Okay, so this is, to use the flaperons or spoilers will limit aileron authority. Okay. Engage the flaperon feature using these steps. Turn on the transmitter, power on the aircraft. Hold both transmitter sticks in opposite corners like this. Toggle the gear switch 5 times. The control surfaces move as this is alternatively selecting AS3X and safe modes. What? You will note a change in the movement. Okay, I don't understand that. That's
we'll just have to do
very confusing.
See what happens.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're basically gonna build our normal model. Okay, so we'll go down to model name. Obviously we have to type in a model. This is not number 6. Why did that number 6? Number 6.
Did you delete a model?
Yeah, I did. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, so model 186, and then it went to 6 because the last one I deleted was model 6 or something like that. So it's now indexed that. So all you have to do is basically click. I'm gonna go back into system setup, disconnect RF, and I'm gonna go to model name, and I'm just gonna type in a number. So that was 186. I think it was like 180 something. Mm-hmm. So I normally don't show this, but I use the legacy keyboard, by the way. Was it 186?
I think it needs to be 189.
Okay, cancel them back from the home screen. Okay, cancel them back. Yeah, 187. Okay, so we'll click scroll into system setup. Sorry about the confusion there, folks. That's got more to do with our transmitter than anything else. So that was 187. Mm-hmm. And then colon. Now keep in mind, the way that this transmitter indexes cancel and cancel will clear anything past. So we're gonna type in the model name and come right back. Okay, so we got the Conscendo UMX. Then we're gonna go aircraft type. We're gonna turn on flaperons because we are definitely gonna do that. And then we're just gonna select an image from the standard file. I think they have a sailplane back here with prop. Yep, there we go. Okay, and then flight mode setup. I don't know if we need this yet because it's just gonna be on the gear switch setting based on this instruction.
The original page 4 says to set the wing type to normal. And that doesn't indicate to change the wing type,
No,
right?
It says additionally the ailerons can be moved. Okay, to control the ailerons as flaps, activate the flaperon option. Once activated, okay. So, okay, all right. You might be right there. Maybe we just set it as normal and then we go through that process. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Then we're gonna start by doing throttle cut. Okay, throttle cut, I'm gonna set it to switch H toward my belly. Then I'm gonna look here, verify it's stuck down there. Okay, good. When I turn it off, it's allowed to be live. Okay, throttle cut's back on and tested. Dual rates and expo, we're gonna set to our standard setup on switch F. We're gonna do 5% on the low setting, and then we're gonna do 10% on the middle. That's where we're gonna take off from and fly. And then 20%, whoops, overshot. And then we'll drop the rates down to 90. And then we're gonna replicate that on all 3 of the axis, all attached to the same switch, switch F, okay? So that gets us started. It gives us a starting point at 10. If we need more, we can come up here and make the stick super mushy and reduce the rates. Or we can go even more touchy, but we've got something to get us to the ground. If we find that it's too much or not enough, we can make the adjustment on the fly, pun intended. Okay, this is the way we always do it. I don't understand why they have a high and low when there's 3 position switches. If you ask me, there should always be a higher and a lower rate to begin with, and it should always be the same switch unless there is something else that prevents that. Okay, so now that that's done, we should be able to, do we have a timer setting? The timer setting,
nope.
Reverse anything. Nope. Okay, so minus 100 for throttle cut. So we'll just keep this page open for the flaperons because we're definitely gonna do flaperons. There's no question about that in my mind. As far as I'm concerned, it ought to just come out of the box with that active. Okay, so we're gonna go in and set a timer. Let's just say timer without a 1 out because it's a sailplane, and we'll set it to 5 minutes, okay? That's good enough. At 1 minute, I want a call out with voice because I want it to count down. That is one of the advantages of the NX10 over the NX7E. You won't get voice, you'll get beeps, and that's it. Okay, at 10 seconds, I want voice countdown. At expiration, I want tone and vibrate with a tone every minute thereafter. We'll walk out from there. We should be ready to bind. Throttle cuts on, okay? All the switches are in our standard position. The gear switch is technically up right now. We'll put it to the down position, not that it really makes a difference. Now keep in mind, this thing can cut you, so don't get cut. I'm gonna plug it in, but I'm gonna trust this only because I don't know exactly how else you would do it. I'm certainly not taking the prop off of it. Okay, once it's started, okay, now it should go into bind mode automatically because there's not an easy way to get to it. Already bound, got telemetry, and we've seen dance. Auto configuration for telemetry happening. All right, so we should be good there. Now, at this point, we can start seeing the controls move, which is pretty sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and take this prop, move it out of the way, slide this on top. But you see that wire is preventing the canopy from closing all the way. So we're gonna have to probably get a little bit creative on this one because the way the battery is fitting in here. I wanna get this UMX, or excuse me, I wanna get this JST rather, to slide back into this cavity a little bit, and then we'll just tuck this wire down. And the reason we do that is because you don't wanna put negative pressure on your canopy. You may pop it off, okay? So I'm gonna take and hold this. Throttle cut is off. I'm gonna give a burst of throttle just to test things. Okay, first of all, it's working, as you can see. That is a lot of power.
Yeah.
And braking, okay? If you guys don't know what braking is where the motor actively tries to stop the prop from spinning or tractoring, okay? That's gonna allow the prop to fold when it's flying. Otherwise, it will stay stuck out like this, okay? Throttle cut's now on, and it's tested, so we know it's working. I'm gonna clear my timer. Let's check control surface directions. Yaw left, yaw right, correct. Elevator up, elevator down, correct. Then roll left, roll right. Okay, so now gear. I'm gonna do this with the gear off, with the gear toward us. That's gonna be AS3X mode, okay? So there's AS3X mode. How do you tell? Because I can see there's more movement than there. That's gonna be safe. Now, the other way you can tell is flip it upside down, and you can see that the plane is automatically trying to recover from the upside down condition, okay? Also, look at the elevator. The elevator's all the way up and locked, and that's where it's gonna fly level, and that's where it's gonna fly pointed down. So it's gonna bring it to level, okay? So with safe off, it doesn't do that. It just corrects. Now watch that as I lift, it goes up, it goes down. Watch the elevator, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go down. It's very subtle, you may not be able to see it. Rudder goes left, rudder goes right. So I'll go ahead and hold the camera and show you this, okay? So rudder goes right, rudder goes left. You can see it's resisting the impact of the environment. Up, down, you may not be able to see that. Probably just have to take my word for it, but it's moving. Now the ailerons, up, down, okay? Same thing on both sides, test it both ways. If you can't see with your eyes, take your hand and roll, you'll feel it. Roll and you'll feel it, okay? So that's AS3X and safe, both active. I need to switch my condition on the switch. So I'm gonna go to servo setup, travel, and reverse on gear. So now that's AS3X. Verify it's working. Yep, AS3X is working. And I have it in my conventional switch condition because this would normally be used for gear. Gear pulled up would be here for me, so I always start my transmitters with the gear down so that my planes don't fall on the counter. All right, so that should take care of the basic stuff. Now let's go ahead and turn on flaperons and see what happens, okay? First things first, elevator, ailerons, everything is working. There is no flap system set up, so I'm not sure how this is gonna work, but I'm gonna go down and away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you could see a change. There was a dance, okay? So once you've done that, you can see, look, now these are both down, okay? as you can see. So there's gotta be a way to change that setting. Okay, and safe, same thing. So you can see, guys, now we have ailerons that still work. Yep, that's still working. Elevator still works, and AS3X is still working. Safe would still be working. Yep, so everything is working with the exception of I gotta figure out how to adjust that now, and I believe it's under the starting camber flap setting. Okay, so let's see what happens here. I don't know where that is, so I'm just trying to figure out how would you even adjust that. So like they said to set up the regular wing type, so I'm assuming we have to go to system setup and go ahead and go to aircraft type and change this to flaperon and see if now that activates the menu structure, which allows us now, yep, roll left, roll right, and that's got differentials. So that one goes up higher than this one comes down and vice versa. Ooh, no. See that? That left one goes more. The right one goes way more than the left one, okay? So now we need to do some setup probably. All right, flap system. I'm gonna turn it to switch B. And I'm not sure why they're calling out camber flap setting, spoileron flap setting. Guys, we found it in the manual. My apologies, you don't set this up as a flaperon. You set it up as a one flap, one aileron, okay? Like that. My apologies, it was down here on this change the wing type to one aileron, one flap, okay? So my apologies. Okay, now we should see normal function. Roll left, roll right, and we do have the same function, but we haven't set up the flap. So let's go and do that now. So the flap setting is gonna be nothing there, or something, that's spoilerons. So still working, still working. So I'm gonna clear that. I'm gonna just start with, takeoff flaps. They're suggesting 45 with minus 17. That's kind of a strange setup. Yeah, I don't really understand that. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this the way I want to do it because I do this all the time and I'm just gonna make it the way I want it, okay? So there's takeoff flaps and then we're gonna do landing flaps. And these are flaperons, okay? So remember, flaperons sometimes do call for reverse elevator. So I guess at this point, I'm not gonna set up either direction. They call for 17 and then I'm gonna set this to speed 2 seconds, okay? So you turn them on, there you go. Roll left, roll right, that's all correct. Okay, so it says camber flap setting, spoileron flap setting. So meaning down versus up, okay? Now, what I can do is I can also make a mix that's gonna be like this. You can set, it should be the flap setting. Where's the flap? Flap to probably flap. And the rate's gonna be something in and something out, but we're gonna see what happens, okay? And I'm gonna make this active with switch C, okay? So I should have turned that on first, sorry guys. See how it's on in the middle now? So all I have to do is just clear that. Okay, so I want this to be normal, so nothing. Then on this setting, I'll probably set something like in and then something out. I don't even care what the number is yet. I just want to see what happens. Okay, so takeoff flaps, landing flaps, okay? So we're obviously not impacting change. See how the offset's changing something? Okay, see how the offset's changing something, but it's just changing this one, okay? So it might be a little bit complicated to do this on this plane, but what I want to do is I want to have flaperons and then have a switch to turn on spoilerons, okay? So that's what I'm gonna work out and I'll come back and show you what I did. Okay, so I had a change of heart. I wanna talk about the way we're gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna set up for my flap system, okay? So full landing flaps is gonna have a correction factor of -17. Takeoff flaps are gonna be -12, okay? And we'll see how that does, okay? We were talking earlier about setting up a mix. If you wanna set up a mix so that you can set one condition to basically give you spoilerons. I just want to see how it works. I don't typically prefer spoiler rounds, but sometimes with full length ailerons, spoiler rounds do work nice. You can always just flip your flap setting the opposite direction so that you get spoiler-ons each time, okay? But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set it, I'll just show you one way to trick the system and actually go ahead and set this to be basically a flapper-on condition. So I'm gonna put it down here because that's not where I would normally fly. And you see what's happening? So there's our flaps, nothing. But you see when I go up, it drops it down to neutral. Okay, so that more or less neutralizes the flaps at 100, and then the offset gives you the movement for spoiler-ons, okay? So look, it still works, it still works, it still works, everything works. Take off flaps, it still works, it still works. Normal flaps, see, it's still on. So then you just shut it off and it goes back to normal flight mode. Okay, normal, normal, and then you got crow, or not crow, but you've got spoiler-ons. Okay, so it's a fast-acting decision. And just remember, when you go between this and that, that's fast acting because I don't have any way to slow down this mix. I can only slow down the entire control channel, okay? So C is attached to flap, and then it makes this offset, but only when in that condition, right? So there is no mix, and there is no mix to complicate things. Now, my plan is I'll run that, we'll see how this works. And if we like the way spoilers behaves better, then I'll literally just go into flap system and I'll just set this the other way around. So this will be like, you know, 100 up here, then 50 would become minus 50. So it'd be minus 100, minus 50, and then 0 or something like that. I'm sorry, I said that backward. This would just be minus 50, that would be minus 100. And then that number would probably become the opposite, which would be like plus 12, and this would become plus 17. Okay, but we'll go over that in our maiden flight just so you can see what it does. Okay, so without further ado, this plane is ready to fly. Real quick, just want to point out one test that's always a good idea to do now that we've made a modification to the normal operation. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this plane, throttle cut is on. I'm gonna check for control surface directions. Yep, yep, still yep, still yep. If you can't see it, feel it. Roll, roll, I can feel, roll, I can feel it. Now check safe. If you're using safe, roll it like it would, okay? Everything seems to be correct there too. So now I'm gonna put it in my crazy mode where the spoilers are on and see if it still works the correct direction. Correct, correct, yep, correct, correct. The only reason we check that stuff is because when you do something weird like that that's not as directed, you wanna make sure your system still works. Now I'm shutting it off so it goes to normal mode. Correct, correct. Now take off flaps, correct, correct. Okay, everything's working the same way. So this Conscendo Evo, the only thing we haven't checked is center of gravity, which we're gonna check real quick and just show you that it's probably not super critical if you're using one of the suggested batteries, okay? So with UMX planes, if you fit the battery, you're usually pretty good. Okay, what do we got?
32 plus or minus 2.
32 plus or minus 2, goodness gracious. So it's a very,
34.
So 32 plus or minus 2, 30 to 34. All right, are we just gonna use a black marker on this one?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
That would make the most sense.
So 30 to 34, and that's from the leading edge. So we've got our calipers out. We'll just measure in here and just give it a little bump. And then we'll come over here and we'll measure its bump. And then 34, this is gonna give us our back mark.
It's not
bump.
a very big range.
No, it's not. Okay, bump. So then I do this, and I know some of you guys cringe because it is somewhat cringe-worthy to mark up a plane like this, but then I don't have questions and I don't tell you guys the wrong way to do it, okay? Because at the end of the day, what we do here on Bright Phillips RCs, we go through the process, we try to learn what we need to learn, and then we apply it together in such a way that we can all get the most out of our beloved hobby, which is sometimes buying a plane, sometimes avoiding a plane. And we want you guys to be able to get the best out of your RC dollars. So if this is good enough for your application, you might decide to get the NX7E rather than using the NX10. But I can tell you this for now, if you're like me and you're obsessive about RC airplanes, you're going to be chasing good many after bad, doing that because you're gonna end up here quickly. Now, If you think a couple years is worth it, you can always sell that to your buddy at the club and, you know, get it to something newer and bigger, or just skip this step altogether, go to the NX20, and then you can fly jets and all that stuff too. Or you go up to the IX20 if you really want to spend some bigger bucks.
Or keep that as a trainer if you have a kid that you think is going to be coming up. I mean, there are purposes. Like,
there's definitely purposes.
Yeah, use it or sell it.
So, but that all being said, the Conscendo Evo, very exciting. We love bringing you guys this new stuff from E-flite. Great products. I haven't flown it yet, but I've seen it fly actually like 3 times now. So I know it's gonna be good. And even though I'm not Allie, I can probably fly it. So it's gonna be fun. Can't wait to get out and fly it. Thanks guys. If you want to help support Brian Phillips RC, all you have to do is look no further than the video description below, and you can buy planes just like this, or planes that you see in the background, or planes we've done in the past, from the links in the video description below. Now just keep in mind, we are currently fighting with Google over links. They're shutting down our links and attacking us for no apparent reason, even though we haven't broken any rules. Eventually they'll come out with a rule that we broke, but it's not published yet.
Maybe not.
So at this point, if you go into the video description and you can't find the plane, battery, alternative battery choice, tertiary battery choice, battery cables, that sort of thing, transmitters, then what's gonna happen is we will have a link that will bring you to brianphillipsrc.com, where we can control how the links are disseminated. All the links are safe. They're going to reputable companies like E-flite. In this case, it is the actual website. We are part of the mothership when that happens. So Horizon Hobby is, of course, the mothership, and then E-flite is up under them, and then Spectrum is up under them too. So we are working directly with these companies as affiliates, and so we do earn commissions, and that's how we fund the gigantic time investment that is doing Brian Phillips RC, and small little projects like what's going on outside. You want to just give them a quick shot. We've already showed this a little bit, but in case you guys haven't ever seen bulldozers, they drink fuel quicker than you and I could imagine. And they're super, super cheap to pay for. Haha, just kidding. So as you can see, this is what tree removal looks like. And yeah, that was all trees just a few days ago.
Yep, now they're over
And now it's just giant piles. And so we're waiting on some final permitting to finish this work. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and see if we can fly this thing. And we really appreciate you. The background noise is awesome. I hope you can hear it through our lab mics. But that is literally how my wonderful camera crew is being woke up these days.
Yep, every day.
Which you could get woke up by worse things than giant bulldozers plowing through your backyard.
At least they're supposed to be here, so.
Yeah, it's not like a surprise.
No.
So guys, thanks for watching. This is the end of the video. Obviously, we're gonna go inside so it's not quite so loud. It's kind of hard to hear myself think when that's happening. But it's all good because we really do wanna bring you guys the latest and greatest in RC technology, and that includes having an awesome field with which to test them on. And that is what we're doing. And if you guys ever wondered where these proceeds from these projects go, it goes to things like that. And there's been a lot more like that. We buried power lines last year. Actually, that was that this year?
Last year.
That was last year. And acquisition of property is, as you know, not cheap. So anyway, that's what we're doing. If you guys didn't already know that, again, inside baseball, we try to keep it to a very minimum and at the ends of the video so that you guys know what's going on. If you want more details about the Google Fandangle mess, then you can just ask us. If you go to our little picture, you can click the picture, go to the About tab, and then there's an email address there, and you can ask us more questions. We'll be more transparent there where it's not as public. But we are hopeful that Google will pull their heads out of their butts at some point, maybe. But if not, we'll see you on the other platforms eventually, because they'll eventually kick us off for not breaking policies that are even listed. That's the life of a YouTuber. But we love the RC hobby, and they're not gonna stop that. And we know you guys love watching the videos, and so we're gonna do our very best to keep you with access to all the content that you've come to expect on Brian Phillips RC. And so that's what we're gonna keep doing. And so we really appreciate you guys supporting us in our efforts, because right now it is very discouraging. So anyway, awesome Conscendo, good job E-flite. I'm sure this thing's gonna be amazing because I've already seen it, like I said, and we're excited to continue this. So stay tuned guys, so much more coming from Brian Phillips RC.